Peace, peace will come. Let it begin with me. We need peace, and let it begin with me. Oh, my own life is all I can hope to control. Oh, let my life be lived for the good of my soul. Let it bring peace, sweet peace. Peace will come, and let it begin with me. Oh, peace will come. Oh, peace will come. Oh, peace will come, and let it begin with me. Oh, peace will come. Oh, peace will come. Oh, peace will come, and let it begin with me. With me. With me.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh God, I hope you hear that prayer. I'm coming into this Shabbat, as I'm sure so many of you are, feeling the heaviness of what is happening in the world right now. Fearful for innocent citizens in the Ukraine who are now in a war zone, concerned for what this means for democracy there and, frankly, around the world, wondering if this is the beginning of a global conflict. And I encourage all of you to stay current on what's happening, to donate to organizations that are helping the Ukrainian people. But I'm going to encourage you to do that all after Shabbat. For this 24 hours, or for at least this evening, take Shabbat. Spend the rest of the week trying to make the world a little better, to bring a little bit more peace into the world. But today, I invite you to really, truly try to take a rest. Don't try to fix everything. I know it's hard, but if God can do it, we can do it. Sometimes it's even harder to rest than to do. But we've learned the hard way that society breaks down when we do not, as individuals, learn how to be more whole and to take care of ourselves and to cultivate a little bit of peace within ourselves. Peace. We need peace. Let it begin with me. Let it begin with Shabbat. I'm Rabbi Angela Buchdahl, really grateful to be on the Bima tonight with Cantor Dan Mutlu, with our rabbinic intern, Andrew Mandel, with Rabbi Dan Ross, with our soon-to-be cantor, Jenna McMillan, with our musical team, led by Dave Strickland up there as well, our incredible AV team, our wonderful Shamashim who greeted you as you came in. I'm really grateful that on our Bima representing our congregation and leadership, we have Alice Greenwald and our president, Dr. Shani Silverberg. And in addition to welcoming you, and it keeps growing in the sanctuary each week, which is really wonderful. I also greet all of you who are with us through live stream, through JBS, through our Facebook Live. A special shout out to our neighbors, some of whom will actually be on the screen tonight. So it's really wonderful to have our extended family with us for Shabbat and to help bring that little bit of peace into the world. So let's bring that as well as some extra Shabbat light into the sanctuary. And we have like a full cohort that are going to be lighting candles tonight, which is so nice as well. So I'd love to invite up, oh, by the way, I think we have a confirmation class from Georgia. Are you here? Yay, welcome. From Dor Tamid in Johns Creek, led by Rabbi Jordan Onstein, we say welcome and Shabbat Shalom. It's really great to have you. So for our candle lighting, I'd like to invite up Heather Abel, Adam Zucker, Karen Gardner, Eleanor France, Sharon Berman, Rachel Berman, Katie Zorn, Doug Hand, and Julia Poidoratsky is going to be getting a special blessing after, and Ava Blavatnik enjoyed her bat mitzvah this week. So if they're here, any of them, please join. You know it's a good Shabbat when you have 10 candles to light. We have so many people to bless and to celebrate. What a particular joy it is. So we will continue with Psalms of Kabbalah Shabbat. We will start with Shir Hadash, found on your order of service or page 13 in your prayer book.
Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
Continue with Mizmor LeDavid, also found on your order of service.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Havu l'Adonai שמו השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש כל אדוני על המים אל הכבוד ירים אדוני על מים רבים כל אדוני בכוח כל אדוני בהדר כל אדוני שובר ארזים וישבר אדוני את ארצי הלבנון
Sabbath bride. On page 20 and 21, we'll sing L'chadodi, the verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And as we get to that last verse, that we physically greet the bride, if we're able, rise and turn towards the doorway as we bring in the spirit of Shabbat.
L'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela L'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela
Shavor v'zachor v'tibor echad hishmi'anu El hamyochad Adonai echad u'shemo echad v'shemo tiferet v'litina L'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela
L'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat לכו בנחקי בקול הברכה בראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה l'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela l'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela
התעוררי כי בעורף קומי אורי שיר דברי
כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה l'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela l'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela בואי בשלום עטרת מעלה גם בשמחה
standing now for our call to worship on page 146.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 ya la la la. La 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai levorach leolam vaed leolam leolam leolam
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhmah poteach she'arim ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור.
ומעביר יום, ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ברבים.
Before we offer our Shema, I invite us to offer this prayer in English, like a mantra. I find that when we do this, we often do this on Shabbat mornings, but not as often on Friday night, that it really brings a sense of peace. And so we're going to do it several times. If you don't know the words, it's basically there. Hear, O Israel, Adonai, our God, Adonai is one. But as you do it, I might imagine or invite you to think about what it means that we are one, that God is one, that you might feel the boundaries between you and the people in this room fade away, the boundaries between you and the people that might be outside this sanctuary or even around the world, that we are reminded that we are all interconnected, that God is one.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai, our God is one.
Hear, O Israel,
Hear, O Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Hear, O Israel, hear, O Israel, Adonai, our God is one.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם למענך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn now to a prayer of redemption, a time when there might be freedom for all people. Page 152.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
States website. On the top is a 3-word plea. It's not stop the war or please stop Putin. It says pray for Ukraine. What if we all around the world prayed for Ukraine? I imagine it would be beautiful in many languages with many different names for God. I don't actually think that that would magically solve all the problems. I don't think prayer works that way. But I do think it's powerful that that was the request, that we'd all pray. I'll tell you what I do think it does. I do think our prayers send a message to God. I do think our prayers would send a message to the people who are in pain and fearful and cowering right now. And I think that it sends a message to each one of us. that we will be people who will continue to keep our hearts open to those who are struggling in war-torn places, struggling with illness, struggling with their own pains for whatever reasons right now, because there is a lot of darkness out there. So we've been given a language, a common language with this prayer of Hashgrenu, which I think we all feel helps us understand God's sheltering presence in our lives. So let's pray that for ourselves, for our extended circle that we know need it, and perhaps even for people across the world.
Hashgrenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
Spread the shelter, ufros aleinu.
Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Hashgrenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha.
We continue with our prayers with Tefillah on page 155. Please rise if you're able.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid teilatecha, ufi yagid teilatecha. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, אתה אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור הנורא, אליהו, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים מטרה להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשדי עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעללו חסנה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
I invite you to continue tefillah at your own pace, either using the words in this prayer book or closing it, offering the words of your heart to either remain standing or to be seated as is your custom as we take these next few moments in silence.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing in love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind and we'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
This week's Parsha, Vayakhel, begins with one of the many instances in which the Torah describes the practice of Shabbat. On 6 days work may be done, but on the seventh day you shall have a Sabbath of complete rest, holy to God. Work can mean lots of different things. It could mean farming, shepherding, lawyering, doctoring, financing, parenting. And we also know that some of the hardest work that many of us face on a daily basis is a struggle with pain and illness. Yet unlike farming or financing, our struggles with pain and illness are not among those things that we can just say, I'm going to take a pause on this today. And so every Shabbat, we offer those members of our community who are in need of healing our Mishaberach prayer in the hope that our love and support and our warm hearts will help lighten the load of their suffering as they enter this sacred time with us. At this time, the Central Synagogue community is praying for the healing of Arya Ben Jamal Vilea, Justin Altschuler, Kathy Barron, Bernice Berger, Eileen Berger, Michael Bernstein, Simcha Ben Sara, Amy Bloom, Donald Brief, Grayson Schuyler Bloom, Jerry Calderon, Lou Chen, Lois Conway, Alyssa Eisen, Elliot Fishbein, Corey Flom, Jerry Friedman, Ziggy Galit, Michael Grunebaum, Ed Herbst, Buddy Hirsch, Howard Hochberg,
Karen Koppel-Kaunitz, Melissa Kaufman, Arlene Klein, Alfred Kohler, Sherry Koss, Doris Cussy, Kendall March, Cordelia Miras, Brigida Perez Prado, Kurt Pliskin, Marty Reingold, Ed Rice, Sandy Schupper, Michael Simon, Candace Smilo, Bill Smith, and Jacob Stutcher. We offer those our prayer for healing.
Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech, v'yirapeh et hacholim, mi sheberach avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak,
After a week like this one, it's also important to take some time and reflect on the blessings among us. And so I'm going to say some things that might apply to some people in this room and invite you to rise so that you can be acknowledged in your joy. So, if you are becoming B'nai Mitzvah this week or have already become B'nai Mitzvah, Ava, Noha, Dale, Theo, and Karen, or if you became Bat Mitzvah this time last year, Julia, I invite you to rise, or if you're celebrating with our B'nai Mitzvah, so we can acknowledge you. Come on, stand up. There we go. All right, good. Don't be nervous. And the people who love you, you all can stand together too. If you are celebrating one of those dates that marks another trip around the world for you, perhaps a birthday or an anniversary, we invite you to rise. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. If you welcomed someone new into your family this week via wedding, birth, or adoption, we invite you to rise. We say Mazel Tov to you. If this is your first time at Central Synagogue, if you're visiting us from out of town, we invite you to rise at this time. Welcome. Good to see all of you. Today is National Clam Chowder Day. So I'm not going to invite anyone to rise for that one specifically, but maybe you might have enjoyed a good bowl of hot soup on a cold winter day this week and invite you to rise. There we go. If you are as thrilled as we all are that we just welcomed our refugee family from Guatemala this week, we invite you to rise. And if you're happy it's Shabbat, we invite you to join together in our prayer of gratitude. Please be seated.
What does it mean that there are more people attending this service at home than there are in this room right now. That was true before the pandemic, but now all of us have had the experience of streaming our services, so we know more about the trade-offs and our own preferences. There are many reasons for loving being in the sanctuary, especially this one. Many of us, including myself, couldn't wait to get back together and sing and feel each other's closeness. Some say that this is the way it must be, the only way. A recent editorial in the Times argued that churches ought to shut off their live streams. In a statement about hybrid worship, the Reform Movement's Rabbinical Association predicted that rabbis after the pandemic will focus on their in-person congregants such that live streamers feel like they are spectators, surrender their computers, and return to the building. I've heard all sorts of objections to the online option. Watching services on a screen promotes a passive, superficial experience. Tuning in and out enables detachment from relationships with no obligation or concern for fellow congregants. Choosing your favorite service makes synagogues more of a commodity than a commitment. There may be some truth in some of these critiques, but these positions often lack curiosity about the full range of reasons why people tune into live stream and lack imagination about the value that online communities have the potential to provide. Let me ask our AV team, will you do me a favor and get our Facebook feed on the screen? Thank you. Let me ask our folks online, would you take a moment to chat in what you get out of online services? I'll come back to you in a moment. Of course, there is the issue of access. Some of you out there are simply not in a place where there is really anywhere else to go, COVID or no COVID. Online services also present a far less forbidding barrier of entry for people who are unaffiliated or alienated from institutional Judaism. And for some, the experience of online worship with the right video and audio is actually fantastic. Congregants have reported to me a feeling of something so much bigger than themselves, joined together with other Jews from other cities, states, and countries. They relish the radically democratic ability to be heard because the chat can serve as an outlet to share your delight about a new melody, your question about a word you don't understand, your prayers for a sick relative with everyone, and receive replies. Those likes go a long way, I think. Folks online can be fierce supporters of one another and develop meaningful friendships without yet having met in person, though some then arrange to do so. You can sing your heart out off key and don't have to fear someone shushing you or looking at you funny. Let's see what people have had to say. Let's take a look. Can we get that back on the screen? There we go. Out of town. Thank you. Sense of peace, praise the Lord. There are so many, I bet, on the screen right now. I'm going to have to look later to read them all, which is another benefit of online engagement, because you can take your time to read, reflect, and respond. Thank you again. So I recognize that this debate involves no less than what constitutes community. I believe that this week's Torah portion has something important to teach us in this regard. God had said that God could be worshipped bechol makom, in every place. The point of the intricate Mishkan, the traveling sanctuary that we build this week, was not that God needed a structure. Some of our commentators say that God decided to commission this project after recognizing that humans seem to need a physical manifestation of God's presence, a need that became even clearer after the Israelites built the golden calf. God seems to have adjusted God's plans to accommodate human needs. Moses, too, seems to learn from the debacle of the golden calf to build a holy community. One word for gathering in Hebrew is kahal, and the verb can take active and passive forms. In the episode of the golden calf from last week, the passive version of this word is used to describe how the people just got chaotically gathered, like delayed passengers at a LaGuardia help center, as they demanded that Aaron construct for them a god. That was an impulsive mob scene. The group is described with this faceless singular noun of ha'am, the people. Our Torah portion for this week is called Vayakel, the active, causative verb form of that very same word, kahal. In building the Mishkan, the dwelling place for God, Moses proactively assembled the people, intentionally convening them. He outlined a clear picture of what they'd build, a united group of multiple faces. Kol edat b'nei Yisrael participated in active contribution. The people here are acknowledged as a collective of individuals. Kol ish ve'isha, gender expansive. This not only included those who had gold and silver for formal offerings, but also those who found threads or skins or hairs to give. Those who had skills gave skills. To make the golden calf, people were told to grab each other's earrings. For the Mishkan, Moses invited people to give optionally as a nadiv lev and a chacham lev, as a generous and wise-hearted soul. The result? The contributions for the Mishkan were so plentiful that Moses had to call off this capital campaign. And rather than Aaron throwing gold in a mold, many artisans worked together to make the tent. In quick succession, we read 4 instances of the verb lechaber, to connect, as the wise-hearted ones stitched pieces of cloth to make curtains and adjoined those curtains clasp by clasp. Lechaber, with the same root as chaver, friend. This was the deliberate work of linking together people's individual contributions into a collective whole. The Mishkan, this opportunity to transform how people engaged with God and with one another, met the moment. As Jews, we've been continually responsive to the moment we're in, adjusting our places and modes of worship throughout our history, from the Mishkan to the great temples of Jerusalem, the decision to substitute sacrifices with prayer, the choice to build synagogues all over the world, the calculation to face Jerusalem if we weren't going to be there. We've taken our community with us. I believe the parashah is suggesting that the essence of community involves people recognized as individuals, open-heartedly stitching together their contributions to create a clear and meaningful vision for the future. Last July, based on the request of many live streamers, we at Central created a limited pilot, an online community called The Neighborhood, for friends of our synagogue who live all over the world who wish to be in closer connection to us and one another. We encourage our neighbors to remain or become members of a local synagogue. Place-based Judaism is irreplaceable, and we are delighted to be a second home for those seeking regular engagement with others globally who don't otherwise have access. Tonight, we have a Zoom room full of neighbors from this year's cohort. There they are. This is a remarkable group of people. One neighbor in our Facebook group shared that she was about to have hip surgery, and more than 36 people offered prayers, advice, and stories of reassurance. Folks can take classes or start their own small groups based on interest, like cooking or music, or join a schmooze organized by our neighbors. What we are learning is that, like Moses understood, any community requires effort to assemble. But people can be fairly self-sufficient when they can give of themselves. Maybe the question is not whether in-person is superior to online, but rather what conditions are necessary to cultivate community no matter where you are. Because we all know that even if you're here, you may be somewhere else entirely. We can be attentive that our Torah teaches leaders the difference between passively and actively gathering. Are we just switching on the live stream, or are we explicitly planning our online experience and community with the same care as the Mishkan? Are we treating people as a blob or as individuals? Is there only one way to give, or are we creating the conditions for everyone to contribute fully? I also ask everyone here in the sanctuary and at home, are you contributing as a Nadiv Lev and a Chacham Lev? Are you watching prayer, or are you sharing in prayer? Are you keeping to yourself, or are you giving of yourself? Are you focused on your peace, or are you looking for ways to stitch it together with others? When I was a little boy, I watched a television show called Romper Room, where the host, Miss Molly, held up her magic mirror and looked into the camera at all the kids at home and said, "I see Billy and Danny and Susie and Peggy." I don't remember her ever saying Andrew or Andy. I would have taken Andre. I just wanted to participate. Today, thanks to the power of certain online platforms, we can. We can invite everyone to bring their gifts from wherever they are and build a Mishkan for the 21st century. Shabbat Shalom.
I just have to say that because our incredible rabbinical intern, Andrew Mandel, didn't say this, he is, if you didn't get this already, the leader, the pastoral leader of our neighborhood, and he has done the most extraordinary job, which is why they are as connected as they are and why it's growing. So I just want to thank you not just for this teaching, but for really the work you have done of building sacred community at Central. Thank you.
We rise for Aleinu on page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach le'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo samche
Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who are no longer with us in body, but who are eternally with us in spirit. The Central Synagogue community is mourning the passing in recent days of these dear ones: J. Ira Harris, husband of Nikki, father of Bradley, Jackie, and John; Ronald Israf, husband of Donna, father of Michael and Stacy Ehrenstein; Roberta Bobby Palmer, mother of Shelley and Jason; Albert Parisi, brother of Len, Joseph, and Ronald; Alice Blumberg Rubin, sister of Larry Blumberg; Howard Schafferman, father of Joel; Michael Tishman, brother of Stephen, Andrew, and Robert; and Abraham Samuel Walfish, father of Andrew Wallach. At Central Synagogue, we name as our own those members of the American Armed Forces who died in service to their country this past week. We are grateful that we have no names to share. We do, however, have several names to share among those who died in civilian deaths and mass shootings. Among them, Brandy June Knightley, Elijah Hosea Everett, Aaron Michael Bailey, Otarius Marks, and Augustine Martinez. Our thoughts turn as well to those who death took from us at this time in years past. And this Shabbat, we are observing the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the passings of Martin Abrams, Stanley Alpert, Carl Altschuler, Henry Arast, Leland Barnett, Bertha Berg, Gladys Billig, Jacob Bogart, Hyman Kamens, Blanche Dreyfus, Morris Dreyfus, Annette Fenster, Avery Fisher, William Friedman, Arthur Garson, Cynthia Gingold, John Goldberg, Sophie Goldberg Marcus, David Golub, Jerome Graff, Marion Greenstein, Jeffrey Heatkin, Mark Hallbright, Albert Harmon, Ben Harrison, Sidney Heft, Gertrude Kelly, Irving Kiter, Sophia Korn, Stephen Korn, Morris Kudatsky, Bernard Levinson, Sylvia Levinson, Barbara Linhart, Charles Lutke, Ruth Manis, Theodore Manis, Sue Mercy, Arlene Miller, Zachary Milliken, Seal Moskowitz, Bud Nussbaum, Frida Oliviero, Philip Ostroff, Nathan Pellis, Adele Perlman, Lee Perlman, Morris Picker, Helen Plevin, Jacob Posis, Nathaniel Ricklin, Jill Rose, Rose Roth, Anna Samuels, Jacob Sachs, Sarah Schoenblum, Gerda Schulman, Barry Schwartz, Jack Siegel, Miriam Schaefer, Thelma Seiben, Coleman Sloat, Edna Taub, Rebecca Tischler, Robert Weinreich, Ben Witzman, Laura Wurst, Sybil Yerman, Esther Zelaznik, and Seymour Zuckerman. If you are in the period of Shiva, the first 7 days following the passing of someone dear to you, we invite you to rise at this time. If you are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days, we invite you to rise. If you are in the period of Shana, the first year, we invite you to rise. And if you are joining us to observe a yahrzeit this Shabbat, we invite you to rise. Zichronam livracha. May the memories of your loved ones ever be for a blessing. We join together in the words of Mourner's Kaddish, rising on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chaychon v'yomechon v'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu, le'ela min kol bir chata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'meran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
So long as we live, they too shall live. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. As we remember.
It's great, as always, to see so many of you here tonight. Shabbat Shalom. And as always, you are welcome to join us virtually as well. Thank you so much, Andrew, on live stream, Facebook, JBS, YouTube. And immediately after tonight's service, it is our honor to call up Julia Podoroysky for a special blessing at the Ark on the anniversary of your bat mitzvah. And Mazel Tov to our B'nai Mitzvah of this week, Ava Blavatnik, Noah Sewell, Dale Zucker, Theo Hand, and Karen Berman. We invite you to join us on the bima along with Julia. Yes, come on up for the Kiddush and Motzi blessings. Kiddush can be found on page 5 of your prayer books.
We sing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha be'ahava uvratzon Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. And we bless the challah together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
We close with another song of peace, Oseh Shalom. We cannot sing it enough. May it come to be for all of us. Oseh Shalom bimroma, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimroma,